Guys, there comes a point in every YouTuber's life when you just run out of ideas. So without any further ado, this is the Synth Manufacturers Tier List 2020. So before we start, I should lay out the premise for this and how I'm going to judge each. If you've watched my channel for some time, you know that it's not focused on spec sheets, and that is for a good reason. I seriously just don't keep up with much new gear in the synth world. So this video serves as an opportunity for me to see what each manufacturer has been up to recently. I don't think I should have to say this, but you know, the internet. So this is 100% my subjective opinion on the company's active lineups, doing my best to eliminate any discontinued gear. I'll judge based on what I know about the company's gear, my personal experience with it, their innovative approach, technical specs, and overall sonic potential coverage of the lineup. Large workstations like the Mod X or the Roland Phantom are going to be not considered because I have zero contemporary experience with them and it's not fair. I'm also excluding any Eurorack only products. So I made a list of a dozen synth companies, and you may notice a few notable names missing, say Buchla or Akai, but that is because their product range for synths wasn't comprehensive enough to line up with the other companies' broader range of offerings. Anyways, I've talked enough. Give this video an early like and subscribe for more free content like this. Now let's get into the list. So to start, Korg as a company has a long history of top tier synths, from the Monopoly to the Poly 6 to the Wave Station. I mean, the lineage is long. So looking at their current lineup, they honestly have way more solid pieces than I thought. I'm not even factoring in things like the SV2, which I'd go gaga for, even though I don't need it. They're covering all the bases. A flagship analog with a Prologue, semi-portable with the classic micro Korg and reissues of the ARP stuff, remaking the MS-20, straight up more Volcas than I thought existed. I'll share some quick bias. I honestly was ready to slam Korg from what I remembered, even after praising the heck out of the Monologue and the Volca FM, but yo, the products speak for themselves. Korg is absolutely deserving of the S tier. Now this is hard. You know how much I like the Craft Synth 2.0 and how it's my favorite portable synth by far. Modal though is newer to this than most companies on this list. They're smaller and thus can be more nimble than like a granddaddy company like Korg. Their lineup is technically 5 synths. The 002 and 001 I'm counting as one. So the Argon 8 I believe is the flagship at the moment, but the 002 is still the synth I'd put real money down for, though no dedicated drum machines kind of hurt them a little in my eyes. If someone is wanting a portable synth, Modal is where 100% I'd go to first, and Innovation gets them very high marks, but yeah, I'm giving Modal a C ranking for now. Elektron is the company that lots of people still have a hard time getting into. Even I was a little skeptical of being able to understand their workflow, but Bo Beats gave me a lesson on them, and I'm just a big fan of trying Elektron. The Digitact is so enticing. I'd say that Elektron's lineup is the most efficient of any company on this list. They've got the Analog 4, the Analog Rhythm, and even analog processing product with the Heat Mark II. They're covering all the bases, it seems, like something for everyone, so easy A tier. Yamaha, okay. So most people know Yamaha is a lot bigger than the music products, so maybe that's a reason for some things I'm seeing here. Yamaha's synth lineage is strong. They brought us incredibly iconic synths like the CS80 and the DX7. Just naming those two would make you think they'd bring the heat synth-wise. Wrong. I said I'd leave workstations out of this because if I were going to rank workstations, it would be a whole other extremely comprehensive video aimed at live performance. But Yamaha has count them, four synthesizers in the Rephase series. And sure, a CP is a piece that I will eventually buy, but the history and intellectual property Yamaha could pull from, the lineup is weak. It's an F ranking for me. So Teenage Engineering is not really as new as some think to the synth scene, and I'll keep this short and sweet. Teenage Engineering gets an S tier for innovation. The OP1 was and still is ahead of its time, and the OPZ is a fantastic second offering in that form factor. TE has the aesthetic, and I like it, such style and focus in this company's product selection. I know there's been some issues with pricing, but that's to each person's discretion. As solely a product lineup, I love to see the Pocket Operators lineup so large. It looks like there's 9 of them. These are great fun and affordable, even offering a modular variant, so A ranking for TE. Waldorf to me is a true classic synth company. They had the best style to their synths, color, flair, and character like no other. The classic wavetable synth company. So here they kind of stand on their own. They brought out things like the Microwave XT and the Q range. So when I look to the Waldorf now, I see a different company though, still pushing the envelope with products like the flagship Quantum, the Iridium. I tried the Kira and well, I didn't love it, but I can see there's a place in the market. The only thing really holding back things like the Quantum is the 8 voice limit. Waldorf has the Pulse and the Blofeld as well, the latter being a modern classic in the digital synth category to me. The ranking is lower because honestly, half these synths are quite old. They're building some heavy hitters, but as it stands, Waldorf gets a C from me. So a couple years back, I clowned Roland on Twitter about overhawking the TR-808 year after year after year. That said, Roland's long line of highly sought after synths seem to be channeled when you look at their current lineup. Groove boxes, TR-8S, legit flagships like the Jupiter X and the JDXA, and also a personal favorite of mine, the portable JDXI, the Gaia, and all these little reissues from their past classics like the JU06 and the JX03. Look at this, there's so much here, way more than I thought. Sure, I'd love to see more stuff for analog purists here, but that's a selfish observation, so Roland totally gets an A ranking and it's well deserved. Novation's lineup is very to the point. They've got the Summit, the Peak, the Circuit, the Base Station, and the Mini Nova. It seems like a very short list, but sometimes there's a diamond in the rough. So the Summit is a 16-voice digital synth with analog filter, and the Circuit Mono Station is an analog paraphonic synth with a very unique interface. So two long-term classics like the Mini Nova and the Base Station shouldn't be overlooked. There's a reason they've been around for so long. I feel like Novation is continually improving, so it is a B tier for them. I remember when people hated Arturia. They hated the ads, they hated the marketing. They were the new kid on the block, but I personally think Arturia is responsible for the wider adoption of classic analog synth design in an affordable package. Starting with the Mini Brute, the range has grown so much. They've got the Drum Brute, the Matrix Brute, and now the Micro Freak. The lineup is small, but they seem to hit the mark with each release. That said, the Micro Freak was the best overall synth in the price range released in the last decade, and I stick to that. Now, adding a vocoder functionality takes it to an even higher level. I'd love to see a flagship now that the range is more mature, so overall ranking is a B for Arturia. Sequential, aka Dave Smith Instruments, has quite the lineup these days, and seriously, every product is like a flagship. Prophet X, flagship sampling synth. Prophet 12, flagship digital synth. Prophet 6, flagship vintage. Pro 3, flagship mono synth, and much more. They're going for the gold on every single product. The only thing holding them back is a flagship drum machine. And I mean, the Tempest, it just got discontinued, but if it was still around, it'd be a home run, right? Well, here's what's gonna keep Sequential from the S tier. When every product is a flagship, every synth costs flagship prices. So you can spend your money how you want, but where in the lineup is the Mofo desktop range? It's missing. So yeah, I'd love to see something like that in the future, but it's an easy A for me. All right, so Behringer is probably the newest brand in the synth market, and dang, they have a lot of products. Like, they're crushing it. The DeepMind 12, the Moog, and what it feels like a recreation of every classic vintage synth people have been waiting for at a super affordable price. On the other hand, they're getting a lower rank for innovation. I don't see the boundaries being pushed, and well, if you want a synth that's been around for decades, but at a cheaper price, Behringer is a one-stop vintage shop. The typical mindset regarding Behringer is that they're making synths affordable, but the Poly D at $700 could be too much for someone, and maybe even the TB3 at $150 could be out of another person's reach. So price philosophy aside, I'd like to personally see Behringer use their tech knowledge that they've gained over the past few years and make a flagship that's uniquely theirs. So a solid B ranking for them. Last but not least, Moog music. I shouldn't have to give you guys the 411 on Moog, but their lineage is incredibly rich. So for Moog, the bar is set so high, it's almost hard to make a synth for them at this point, I bet. The Grandmother and Sub 25, the Mother 32, DFAM, check out all this stuff. This honestly looks like the strongest lineup Moog has ever had simultaneously. General consensus is also that Moog stuff sounds great. There's no way around it, and sometimes I think Moog trades sound quality for technical innovation, but then something like the subharmonicon comes out and I'm taken back. No one is doing what they do. The Moog 1, Jeebus, a 16-channel vocoder. It's incredible. So S tier, right? Well, no. Some of the stuff is just priced off the charts, and that just makes it hard to touch some of those elusive ear candies like the Moog Model 10. That said, the boat/standalone range featuring the Mother 32, a DFAN, the subharmonicon are accessible. And honestly, like I said before, affordable is up to each person. So yeah, it's absolutely an A for Moog. So yeah, in the comment section, I want you to tell me where would you have ranked the companies that I did. There is no right or wrong takes on it, so I'd really like to see them. Remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.